At Level Up Con this weekend, it was announced that there would be a series of animated shorts coming out for Helluva Boss directly on VivziePop's channel, and it's probably one of the best updates we've had on Helluva Boss in a very long time. And it even came with one of those animated shorts, this one about the fan favorite character Sally Mae. Now, one thing I've seen a lot of people complain about in the Helluva Boss fandom is that VivziePop doesn't give enough time and attention to characters who were not conceived as part of her early overarching plot ideas, such as Millie. In episode 5 of season 1, we did end up meeting Millie's family, and with that came the fan favorite character Sally Mae. We did later get an episode that focused more so on Millie when the gang went to summer camp, but it was still in relation to Moxie and the IMP business as a whole. With this and future shorts, however, characters like Millie will be able to have a lot more fun development in isolation, with shorter waits between these little adventures and less of a need to make everything feel so big and grand. Season 2 has been a lot more intense than Season 1 overall, and as the show goes on, it becomes more serialized and focused on its bigger elements, making it harder for moments like Millie and Sally Mae bonding to land in comparison. Shorts allow for these characters to be explored in their own little dynamics, in their own little time frame, without it being forced into any other story. Now, all sorts of great side characters exist in Helluva Boss that could be explored in these shorts, but my hope is that at some point this maybe transitions away from being Helluva shorts, as in Helluva Boss shorts, and into being Helluverse shorts. Hazbin Hotel is owned by Amazon Prime, but they've let VivziePop release scenes from the new series onto her channel in order to promote the show, and having the occasional short focused on a character at the hotel and a day in their life could really help bridge the gap between the seasons, something that Amazon Prime is probably interested in considering the backlash from the Invincible hiatuses. Plus, it gives them a chance to sell more merch just like these shorts do. That being said, the format could also just be used to explore entirely new characters and scenarios in the Helluverse without having to first appear on Helluva Boss. It could be a gateway to testing out a whole bunch of small and fun ideas VivziePop and her talented crew may have, with the most popular ones having the potential to sequel out or become a pilot for a bigger series. This first short, however, cut to the heart of the fans of Helluva Boss by making it about Millie and Sally Mae spending a day together in the Pride Ring and just bonding. I had actually predicted that this would be the plot of the planned Millie-centric episode, but that just ended up being the Camp Rock episode. But I'm not surprised it ended up happening eventually. Sally Mae didn't have a huge appearance in Season 1, Episode 5, but fans of course fell in love with her almost immediately. Now, when it comes to imps, they have certain secondary sex characteristics that the other species of demons do not have, specifically their horns and their hair. Male imps are born with white hair and have horns with thick black and white stripes. Female imps are born with black hair and their horns are almost entirely black with just smaller white stripes breaking up the darkness. Now, Sally Mae of course presents as a woman, but has white roots in her hair, indicating that she dyes it black, and she of course has the pattern of the male horns with their thicker stripes. This quickly communicated to fans that Sally Mae is transgender. In addition to the same changes to their body that a human would make, Sally Mae also dyed her hair to match the natural female color, likely an easy first step in transitioning for imps. Horns, however, appear to be something imps are less concerned about as far as presentation. While I've seen many fans commenting over the years that they wonder if some imps may paint their horns in order to assist with transition, we actually see that other transgender imps maintain their birth horns as well, such as one of the fellow performers at Blitz's circus, who we see first as a child performing on the high wire and then later as an adult escaping from the fire. For a variety of reasons, changing one's horns just isn't seen as a need in the imp community in regards to transitioning, but mostly it's just so that fans can of course identify trans characters. And this is important because there's a reason that fans latch on to characters like Sally Mae, and thus why this short episode was so important to them. It's no secret that Helluva Boss has a large LGBT+ audience, with a large focus on the T and the plus, I would say, and it's not for surface level reasons. The show has trans characters like Sally Mae, and of course is now using that to give even more attention to their LGBT audience, but even before her inclusion, Helluva Boss was one of the more natural hubs for transgenderism in fandoms. Helluva Boss and Hazbin Hotel inherently appeal to people who see themselves differently than they appear. It presents a world where you take on a form that says more about who you are inside, but it doesn't just disregard the outside. Instead, that becomes a smaller detail, and the more important parts of your identity on the inside are reflected on the outside in your character's design. The Earthborn sinners, of course, are humans who died on Earth and then manifested in Hell as demons. The form they take is a reflection of not just their sins, but their life as a whole. While family members can be entirely different species when they manifest in Hell, Angel and his dad and brother all came in as spider-themed demons, reflecting their web of crime as an Italian mob family while on Earth. Because Angel plays with his gender aesthetic, he manifests as more androgynous or even feminine than his father and brother, being pink and having excessive chest fluff that fans to this day still think are actual breasts and confuse Angel for a woman. It's a world where every aspect of you manifests as a persona that makes you feel safe as a fan, as it's a truer version of you because it's a symbol that expresses the parts of you that aren't immediately obvious. To put it simply, a sinner Sona, or really any online Sona for these various fandoms, can feel more like the real version of someone because it isn't just about who they are on the outside, it's about who they are inside as well. With the natural-born species of Hell, it's not much different. While the limited number of species makes the characters less customizable than the sinners, those limits allow for a series of base model demon types for fans to proxy into who aren't too sure what to do with the absolute freedom that designing their sinner Sona has. Imps are a great demonic baseline, some people prefer to have a succubus Sona because of the sexual aspects, and others go straight for hellhounds because they already have dog-based furry Sonas. That just being a greater example of this sort of self-representation that draws in quite a bit of people, but especially trans people. These sorts of hypothetical realms that people imagine themselves in allow trans people an outlet to express not just the physical changes that they go through, but the internal changes they feel as they better express their identities to others. Helluva Boss, however, leans more heavily into trans representation than all of these other stories that tend to have similar ideas about how you can redesign yourself, creating unique ways within the show's lore for fans to outwardly express the nuance of their gender in a proud way. Because of the different sex characteristics of the hair and the horns, ImpSonas in particular became a way for trans fans to express their transgenderism on a level that the other species didn't allow, with their sex differences being more similar to that of humans. This ability to reimagine yourself as a more internal yet idealized version is what drew in not just transgender or non-binary fans, but people who find those journeys inherently interesting because they relate to it, even if perhaps just on a much smaller scale, feeling that there is a different version of themselves that they are supposed to be based on the feelings that they have inside of them. With this new short, Sally Mae becomes a symbol for that and her own relationship with the show as a beloved side character who the audience sees almost more as their own main character in a way. And this short really delivers on that. We only see Moxie at the very end, and instead, we get the whole day of just Millie and Sally Mae enjoying the scenery of the Pride Ring. It's fun, but at the end, Sally Mae still feels some sense of distance from her sister because she knows that the trip is going to be rather short, and she doesn't know when they will see each other again, perhaps having to go even longer than they've gone this time. Sally Mae and Millie were particularly close, it would seem, as even as they are throwing jabs at each other in episode 5 of season 1, it's more interaction than we see Millie have with the rest of her siblings. It's easy to see that Sally Mae missed having Millie around as part of the family, which isn't about being perfect friends, but rather being allowed to be imperfect friends with each other more than anything else. Before they end up having fun, however, Sally Mae is clearly sad because of how little she sees Millie, and really it's representative of how little the character will see the show, with Sally Mae representing not just her, but all the great fun side characters who so often embody these similar interests of the fandom beyond the main cast. The short itself was written by the voice actress for Sally Mae, Morgana Ignis, who has been a huge part of the behind-the-scenes cast adventures such as the autograph signings and their live streams. It reflects her relationship with the show, Sally Mae's relationship within the show, and the audience's relationship with the show as well, that being largely with how the show reacts to the audience. We aren't getting the Sally Mae show, but the short sets up the opportunity for Sally Mae to recur more easily, and we are getting more shorts that will undoubtedly focus on those characters that, like I said, embody similar interests to the fandom. And that's what's so great about this. It's a sign that VivziePop just wants to give the fans what they want now that she is the pipeline for her particular story, creating an outlet for anything we like to get more attention while still maintaining her key points in the real episodes. Luna and Octavia, I feel, have to have some sort of short coming up that the Hollywood episode was likely setting up, some sort of next-gen only adventure with the kids. And perhaps the recent shot of the Dorks agents isn't from an upcoming episode, but from another short. I do hope all the characters set up in the show so far do get to return in proper episodes to see their stories continue, but if the main plot gets so big that characters like the Cherubs or Dorks are just going to be given some shorts to wrap things up for them, I think that's still a pretty sick thing as far as interactive media goes. VivziePop does not get criticized like an artist, unfortunately. She gets criticized like she's some Disney marketing exec with 50 years of experience messing with existing properties, with every little thing she does getting overinterpreted to be used against her. But what VivziePop clearly has been shown to do is try to cater to her audience, to give them what they want, even if some deranged fans seem to be acting like VivziePop is keeping the show itself away from them. From the very beginning, Helluva Boss and Hazbin Hotel have been supported by fans. While Hazbin Hotel managed to get some of that Amazon Prime money, Helluva Boss has been paid for by Patreon donations and by merchandise sales, which is largely what the shorts will be about. Last year, we got a music video featuring Stolas singing about Blitz that just blew up the fandom with its beauty, and of course, it came with a dedicated thematic merch set. This seemed to show that the fan base had the potential for merch drops based on thematic shorts as opposed to the seasonal drops that the Shark Robot store generally has, because of how hard it would be to keep up merchandise with the episode releases. When an episode is delayed, those seasonal drops did and still will allow for money to keep coming in to support the production. But shorts, with their easier production and shorter run times and internal story, allow for the shorts to be produced and held onto until the proper merchandise can be produced, with us not having to wait until potentially a year or longer after an episode is released in order to get certain merch, such as the Blitz and Stolas plushes that are themed after Season 2, Episode 1, allowing for merch drops that resonate with fans as they experience the new media without it affecting the release of the full episodes. With that in mind, consider checking out the merch for the recent short available at VivziePop Shark Robot store. It's lots of Sally Mae and Millie art themed after the short, and it will undoubtedly lead to not just more episodes of Helluva Boss, but more banger shorts focusing on the marketable characters who weren't meant to be part of the main story. Let me know which characters you'd love to see have their own short in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys soon with more Helluva Boss news.